I would never, ever, ever play this move, ever, in your entire chess career. Please, for the love of God, don't. This is not a video telling you to play this gambit. It is literally just showing you how stupid it is. All right, 5 gambits you need to know as a chess player. And I have a bonus gambit at the end that you're not going to expect. Actually, you probably will expect it considering my recent history with the YouTube channel, but we're going to keep that one a secret. So we're going to start off with the Elephant Gambit, and then we're going to go the Danish Gambit, Queen's Gambit, Benko Gambit, and then we're going to go Englund Gambit as our final one before we get to the bonus one. So to start things off, a gambit is usually where you sacrifice some material to gain some sort of space advantage or some sort of movement, some sort of way to further progress your position, further improve your position, and put your opponent in a very passive spot to where they have to use more moves to get more pieces out, and vice versa. So this is one of my least favorite gambits personally. It's called the Elephant Gambit, and the reason why this gambit is so annoying is because I am an Italian player, so I'm going to go ahead and rewind real quick. So I always play e4. My opponent always plays d5, and I usually I'll usually play my knight here first, and if he plays his knight here, I'll usually just go into a Petrov's defense. But, if he plays a move like this, it just turns into a Italian game, I think. Wait, no, he usually moves his... Yeah, sorry. So he goes there. I usually move my knight here. He'll move his knight here to defend this bishop, and then I go here, and then he turns into an Italian game, right? So, with the Elephant Gambit, when I do move my knight here, is when they push this pawn here. This is the Elephant Gambit. This is the start of it. So, when you take this pawn here, on d5, the obvious move to me, if I'm playing as black, is to just take this pawn. And this is still the Elephant Gambit, according to the engine. But 9 times out of 10, your opponent's going to play here, which is very, very annoying. Because you can't do anything about this pawn. This pawn is just dead. This pawn pushed forward to attack your knight. And you can't move your knight anywhere. Like, if you move your knight here, the queen's going to just take, and then you have to move your knight again. Somewhere over here. And at that point, you're just lost. And the only way to really play this is to go, like, you can go knight e5, it says. You can go here. But to maintain your advantage, and by the way, the eval bar says you have an advantage as it stands, but you have to play literally perfect chess to maintain. So the top engine move is to play queen e2, and then after queen e2, black's progression continues with knight f6, which is here. And these are top engine moves to kind of just go through this for you. And then after you play d3, the queen will take on d5. And this is very tricky still because, I remind you, the pawn is still pinned to the king, so the pawn cannot take on either side. Oops, can't take on either side. And if you take this, it's actually a bad move. Because queen takes, pinning your queen to your king, so you're going to have to take here. I guess you have to take here. It's a move. It's not the top engine move, but like more times than not, you probably go here and then take. And then knight gets in the game, and it's kind of scary. But you do get your bishop into the game. You go to d3. Knight will have to retreat. Knight retreats to c5. Attacking here. And yeah, vice versa. But a lot of times when you play this gambit, or play against this gambit, I'm watching from White's perspective too, because this gambit is played with black. Because I personally will never play against this gambit. Or never play this gambit, because I think it's trash. But, yeah, no. After here, best move is to go queen e2. Queen e2, you can't, like I said, knight f6 is a move. You can also go queen e7, blocking the pin of the pawn. And you also cannot take this pawn still because the queen would just take back. You need to go knight d4. Knight d4. After knight f6, knight c3. Attacking this pawn, so we won't go into all the gory details, but I am going to flip the board real quick and just show you from black's perspective really quick as well. So you play here. This just looks so weird to make sound like a Carl Con player. You play here, knight here, here takes. When you push this pawn, the queen is going to have to go here. And like I said, knight f6 is the top engine move. And white is winning, but white has to play literally perfect chess. They have to play literally perfect chess. The queen can take on d5. Oh, wait. Whoa. Sorry, d3. d3, queen takes on d5, and then it takes. And you go here, and you just fall back to c5. Attack the bishop here. Cool. Alright, so that's going to be the first gambit. Now let's get into our second gambit. Alright, so now for our second gambit. This is the Danish Gambit, and I honestly like this gambit personally. Now, the Danish Gambit does only work if black takes in the spot, and I'm just going to rewind for you real quick. The game starts with e4, then you go, and then black has to go e5, you go here, black has to take. You go here, gambiting a pawn, because black just took your pawn, and you take here. And anytime if I ever do play this, I'm usually just playing the knight here. And the reason why this gambit is so potent and effective more times than not, while you are down a pawn, you have 2 pieces of material into the game. Your bishops are freed up. They're free to start taking space, taking squares away from your opponent, and vice versa. So after the knight takes, the top engine move here is to go bishop c5. And then after you go knight f3, d6, g5. I don't know why I grabbed black's bishop. g5. Attack the queen. If the pawn pushes, you slide back to d2. And you wouldn't go here because after the bishop takes, you have double pawns, and double pawns are very bad. You're down a pawn, and you have double pawns, so that's probably not a good idea. And if you were to go here, can they play a move like this? d2, no, that's losing. Can you sack? No, you can't sack. Okay, but that's a Danish Gambit. And then also you can, so like let's say you did this. You can also, there's also a line where you can play bishop c4, and after takes, bishop takes. And now you just have an absolute laser beams coming into the black position. Yes, black is up 2 pawns, but due to my previous point earlier, you just have so much more development than black. And black has to literally play perfectly to survive this and maintain an advantage. And he will have to gambit material to stay active. Like, he's probably going to have to lose a pawn here. So, as it continues, knight f6, e5, attacking this knight. Which I feel like that's not a good move. What about knight c6? Knight c6, you go knight f3, bishop e4, attack, check the king, and then what? It says knight c3, but I probably play. Oh wait, no, you probably don't want to move the bishop here actually, because you don't want to lose his bishop because you lose an advantage. Because after the bishop takes, you take. You're down 2 pawns and you lose one of your laser beams. So that's not good. So you go knight here. Bishop takes, it's actually really, I think that's bad for black. No, it's still fine. It's not top ender move, but it's still fine. But yeah, but essentially the goal now, I won't go into the gory details of the middle game, but essentially now you're just trying to get material into the game, continue to attack. Eventually you're probably going to castle, and then black has to get 12 pieces into the game, and it's just very hard to do that because this bishop's still blocked from the pawn. Like, this pawn still has to move, and if this pawn goes here, bishop is blocked, and you can never move this pawn forward because the bishop is x-raying the rook, and the list just goes on and on. So the Danish Gambit is actually a very fun opening to play. Quick little rewind real quick. So after e4, e5, d4 takes, here takes. I usually play this, and then you're playing something like this. b4, bishop b4, pin the knight to the king, he gets his bishop in the game. 92, d6, and a3, bishop a5, what? And I think you could potentially play f3. No. But yeah, so that's that one. And then if takes, if you go here and takes, you have the most deadly x-ray possible. Alright, cool. So let's get into our third gambit. Alright, so this is probably by far the most popular gambit of the bunch. This is the Queen's Gambit. As you probably know, there is a Netflix show literally called The Queen's Gambit, and The Queen's Gambit actually probably saw its highest popularity when this show was going on, when this show was popular. I believe it came out in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I have to fact check myself on that. But The Queen's Gambit came out around that time, around the COVID time. And essentially like I when I was, so I'm currently 1900 elo. When I was around 1000 elo or so, between it was 1000 elo to 1200 elo, I would usually always play the Queen's Gambit. And the Queen's Gambit, I'm just gonna rewind it real quick. It goes d4, d5, Queen's Gambit. Now, if your opponent ever takes this pawn, you have one move you play every single freaking time. One single move. I don't want you to play any other moves. There are other moves in this position you can play, but I want you to play this move every time. Attack the center with this pawn. What this does is this frees up your bishop to attack this pawn, and you lost a pawn, but now you have space for your bishop to get in the game. Queen can still not take because your queen's covering still, and like the game just continues normally. Like you just probably wouldn't play here because then you push. Actually, can you do that and then push? 95. So yeah, I mean it's a little worse for black, but like it gets complicated real fast. But usually black will play something like e5. It says e5 is a crazy move. Attacking here, and this is the central variation McDonald defense. So if your opponent ever plays something like this, I personally would not take this pawn. It is an inaccuracy, slight inaccuracy, because then the queen takes, you lose your right to castle. So instead of that, it says knight of 3. Takes. You take with the queen. Takes. And that's fine. Now, if your opponent plays something like this, ever in their life, to defend this pawn from being taken by the bishop, you will play a4. End of c6. A takes b5. C takes b5. Still threatening here. Rook's very, very active as it stands. After knight c3 attacking here, if they ever push this pawn, you can sack the knight. Because your opponent takes, they lose the rook. And if your opponent doesn't take, so they play a move like bishop e7. Knight c3. You just go right back. And now this pawn is hanging. Everything is hanging. The position is just completely and utterly lost for black. Now, if the queen were to go somewhere like here, you just go here and call check. You probably play. Can you play queen c6? Queen c6 takes. Knight takes. You go here. Yeah, it says that's bad. But yeah, all right. So that is the accepted variation. If your opponent ever plays, so this is the Slav defense. So this goes out of the Queen's Gambit line. That's a whole nother line. We're not going to get into that. This is the Queen's Gambit declined because it frees the bishop up to get in here. And if they ever play this move and they don't take this pawn, you just play normal chess. Principal chess, for you beginners out there that could possibly be watching this video, you are trying to control these 4 squares. If you're a beginner, your goal is to control these 4 squares right here, while also getting this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece in the game as quickly as you can. As a beginner, those should be your 2 main goals. And also your 3rd goal is to check castle eventually. And then, obviously, you want to checkmate eventually. Or get your opponent to resign, or run out of time. The list goes on. But you literally just play normal chess. You go knight c3 works, but top of your move is knight f3, knight f6, and then let's say, yeah, so now you can go knight c3 is the top of your move now, and then after bishop b4, you go bishop go bishop g5, attacking the knight. If the bishop takes, you just take back. And this honestly the same thing, because if the opponent takes here, you push here. And now this knight has to, like something has to happen here between these 2 pieces, because this pawn's going to push, and if this knight ever moves, the queen will fall. The bishop moves h6. After bishop h4, you go g5, kicking the bishop out. Or sorry, your opponent will probably go g5 to kick the bishop out. Bishop slides back to g3, and knight takes on e4. Bishop takes on c4. Goes without a pawn. But look at the difference here. Black just literally wasted so many moves on pawn moves, not counting the pawns that he lost. And this knight's just in no man's land right now. Can you play... If the knight takes here, f takes, queen e7. You just have so much more development than your opponent. Now, if the bishop doesn't take, or actually, let's say you don't play that. Let's say you play g5. There's g5, pinning the knight to the queen. h6. Bishop takes, queen takes. And then after queen a4 check, the knight comes in to block. Also defending this bishop. And then now here, your opponent will likely, or actually, no, it's still your move. So after c takes d5, b takes d5. Oh, once you go e3, yeah, okay, this makes sense. And then you get the bishop in the game. So after here, you go here, right? No, you don't go there. You go rook c1. Crazy. But yeah, that is the Queen's Gambit. Anytime they accepted, you go here. Anytime they do this, anytime they do this, you just develop like normal. You play normal freaking chess. Wait, knight f3 set. Mistake. Knight c3 first. Knight f6. Actually, if we go here, just play normal chess. f6, push. Knight e4. Yeah, you get the point. Cool. Alright, so that is the Queen's Gambit. Let's get into our fourth gambit now. Alright, so this is our fourth gambit. This is the Benko Gambit. I personally am not too familiar with this line. I absolutely personally hate playing gambits other than a select few in Blitz and Bullet. But the Benko Gambit is actually a very, very popular gambit, and it was actually recommended to me by one of my mods in my Discord server. Shout out Captain Bill. This line gets very, very tricky very, very fast. So let's go ahead and review the line really quick. So the Benko Gambit starts with d4, and this is just the main line here. So it goes d4, knight g6, c4, and if you play here, your opponent pushes, you go here. This is the Benko Gambit. So, like all gambits, like I said at the start of the video, if cool. If your opponent takes here, a natural move for me would be to play here. That's actually losing because after knight c3, g6. Wait, not g6. Yeah, g6. Trying to fiend shadow the bishop because the bishop is never going to get out. Oops. e4. Here. Is a4, and that just gets super complicated very, very fast, so you probably don't want to play that. So instead, like, I also see queen a5 check. Queen a5 check makes sense to me, but after bishop d2, you take this pawn on b5. You're attacking this pawn now, and now after knight c3. Ooh, and this is actually a trap, because if you take here, your queen's gonna get trapped. Rook b1, queen a3, knight b5. Go here. There's catastrophic move because he leads to a fork. A nasty fork at that. So if you take the pawn here, you go rook a1, or your opponent go rook a1, queen b2. So I just really want to explore this line. Here. Yeah, eventually the queen gets trapped, so I'm not gonna... I'll spare you the gory details, but this is apparently the top engine move, according to the analysis. Because if the pawn takes, it does say bishop it says pawn e6 first. e4. Now the bishop takes on e6. Bishop e2. It looks like he's trying to castle here. Goes g6, fiend shadow the bishop like we just did. Knight f3. Oh my goodness. Knight f3. Like I said, trying to castle. G7, castles, and you're honestly in such a better spot. Actually, wait. Instead of castling, can you just take? White still has an advantage. But you can also always try and have ideas to get your knight here eventually, and anytime you can get your knight in a structured position where your pawn is covering that knight, it's always a good spot usually. But yeah, so let's say you castle now. Let's say the bishop takes now. Now you can take with the knight, and now your knight's starting to get here. But if the bishop goes, it depends if the bishop goes here. If the bishop goes there, that is a very bad blunder because the knight takes on e4. So yes, your opponent has to defend this pawn. So queen e2, queen b4. Wait, what? Queen c8. This rook still covers, and you're also furthering the defense of this knight here. So yeah, so let's we got this far. So now here, and if your opponent doesn't take this pawn, e3 is the top engine move here. After bishop b7, attacking this pawn. If your opponent takes, you take. Wait, whoa, you take here, because the knight covers. Then knight c3, bishop c6. 3, 7, bishop b5, bishop b5. Oh, wait, what? a4. Yeah, there's so many nasty lines in this, but to play the Benko Gambit, essentially that is the main line. So if your opponent takes, top 100 moves to go here. You can also play queen a5 check. Queen a5 check is still fine. Makes a lot of sense to me. And if the knight goes here, you do not take this pawn because you will eventually lose your queen. You need to go queen b7, attack here. And then if the pawn ever pushes to e4, you can't take because this is covering still. And then you can also play e6. Cool. All right, so let's get into our 5th and final gambit. All right, now for probably one of the funnest gambits of them all. This one leads to so many nasty lines. If you ever want to play if you're a higher elo player and you ever want to throw off your lower elo opponent, this is my favorite one to play against, to just throw them through a loop, because anytime a higher elo player plays this move and you see free pawn, most players will be like, their instincts will be like, oh my gosh, is this a trap of sorts? But it's literally just a gambit. But so the top engine move here, and if you didn't know, it's d4, e4. Hopefully that was obvious. White is winning by a lot in this position. After the pawn takes on e5, sorry, the d pawn takes on e5. Knight c6, knight f3, d5. If your opponent plays en passant, also if your opponent can't take here because the queen covers. If your opponent plays en passant, you can't take with the queen. But this is a little bit worse because you probably also I will mention this too. Whenever you are down material, you ideally, as much as possible, want to keep material on the board as much as you can. Obviously, most circumstances require vice versa to maintain some sort of anything in a game if you're down a lot. But in gambits, ideally, a thought you need to maintain is to keep material on the board as much as you possibly can. So, all right. So after the bishop takes, because like I said, if the queen takes, the queen would take and you lose material, and that'd be bad. Knight c3, knight f6, knight b5, attacking the bishop, and attacking the pawn. You actually just castle here. And if the knight takes, I think that's bad. And you don't take with the queen, you take here. Because yes, this is an isolated pawn, but there's lines here. And after c3, trying to get the queen in the game, I guess. Queen b6, e3. And see, like, this line's interesting to me too, because like, why would you ever block your bishop in? I don't like that. I guess you're just trying to maintain it. Like what ends if you do play here? That's bad because of you just lose a pawn. It's just 94. Ooh, attacking the bishop. Now the bishop. Ooh, and you lose tempo. That's why. The only moves to go here. And this is even worse because now you're blocking a pawn. You ideally probably never want to block a pawn too. Interesting. All right, so. All right, word. So, e3 is the top engine move to maintain the advantage for white. And rook e8. No, d5. Knight still covers here. So the queen cannot take still. Bishop e2. Oh my gosh. Bishop e2, so you can castle. a5, striking, and yeah, you get it. So like essentially the idea remains the same. You're gambiting a pawn to get a lot more space than your opponent. Yes, you're gambiting two, like it looks like you're gambiting two pawns, but you get this pawn right back. And after bishop takes, you have more space. White has to play it literally perfectly to maintain their advantage in this spot. So let's say they don't take. Let's say they push here. Englund Gambit declined. This is actually a miss according to the database, but it's literally a move you can play according to the opening database. After knight f6, attacking this pawn, your opponent can. The top of your move is a3. Wow, I don't know who in the right mind would ever play a3. So let's play normally. Like e3 is a move too. After it says a5. What? Me personally, I'm probably moving my bishop in the game and then going here. Like here, like that just makes a lot more sense to me. And that is a good move. So after knight e2, d6. Now you can get your bishop in the game while not blocking your bishop by this pawn. Knight g3. H5. So I guess it's predicting the bishop can get here eventually. Oh, that's an inaccuracy. Bishop g4. Attacking the queen, and if it pushes, you just slide back to d7. Wow. I don't know why you do that. Interesting. But yeah, and like essentially, like if they ever do push here, like if they take, they're up material, but if they push, you essentially just play normal chess, just like in the Queen's Gambit. When it has to play e3, if they play a move like this, I mean, if they play here, it just loses a pawn, right? Yeah, they have ideas still there. So yeah, so let's say I move the bishop here instead. Bishop goes here, you go h6, bishop h4, you play d6 now. What? Why can't you go bishop e6? Bishop. Oh, it says c6. If pawn takes, knight takes. You still have a defense here. Except bishop takes on f6 now. Takes. Well, the bishop wouldn't take there. Let's be for real. Let's be so for real. 99.99% of chess players would not take the knight after moving the bishop back here. c3, d5, and yeah. All right, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and conclude it there. But essentially, those are the lines with the Englund Gambit. All right, now for our bonus gambit. And for our bonus gambit, we have the Botez Queen Sack Gambit. I would never, ever, ever play this move ever in your entire chess career. Please, for the love of God, don't. This is not a video telling you to play this gambit. It is literally just showing you how stupid it is. I am completely and utterly roasting the creator of this gambit. This gambit is absolute poverty. Hikaru Nakamura had a series where he played this gambit a bunch of times, and he's really good at chess, so he was able to climb pretty high while playing the Botez Gambit, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, like I looked this up on the chess forums. It goes here, after queen here. What was it again? Wait. Queen here, knight c6. And you sack the queen with check. You go here, and you play d4, taking space. Knight falls back to c6. You play d5. Nice move again. That goes here. That's not the best, but literally everything's winning here for black. But essentially, like Hikaru, especially when he plays this, like this is like not like this isn't even the name of the opening in the database isn't even this. It's the King's Pawn opening, Wayward Queen attack. Like usually when Hikaru was playing like higher elo players, he would usually just play normal chess until he could sack his queen. Honestly, he actually might play a move like that. And if he goes here, he probably moves queen out here and then sack it. And yes, he's down a queen, but he got a knight, but now he has more opportunities to create counterplay, and the list goes on. So that is the Botez Gambit. I'm not even going to explore this very much. But if you ever wanted to know what the main line, according to the chess forums, is for the Botez Gambit, that is it. Alrighty, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and tell me what gambits you play. Do you play any gambits? I would love to know. What is your favorite gambit? What gambit did you learn first? Tell me in the comments down below. I really want to know. My first gambit I ever learned, like I said in the video, I believe, was the Queen's Gambit. I will vouch for the Queen's Gambit. I am an e4 player, but I do like d4 turning into the Queen's Gambit. So tell me that, and also subscribe if you enjoy chess content. We post these videos every single day, and we are really, really, really trying to push and get to 4,000 hours of watch time. So if you watch this video to the end, I absolutely love you, and you're my favorite person. And if you did that, I think you should check out our Discord server. We have a full Strive Chess Discord where we host chess tournaments, daily checkmates. A lot of servers do chess puzzles, but we do checkmates because checkmating is more fun than doing a puzzle, in my opinion. And we have a reward system that we're actually reconstructing into a new system for roles where it's the rule system is going to be based on who can gain more elo in a specific time span, and essentially you kind of just climb the rankings and get better and better. And basically, as you progress in chess, your role gets higher and higher in the Discord server. So we have that, and we also have a chess dojo and a bunch more helpful, fun chess stuff in a chess community that is on fire for the game of chess, like you, if you watch to the end of this video. So if you think that would be something that is helpful, fun, incentivizing, I highly recommend you check it out. The link is going to be in the description down below. And all you got to do is click that invite link, hop in, and explore the server, and ask questions if you have any questions. Ping Full Strive or one of the mods that are going to be in the light blue wording font thing on Discord. So guys, thank you once again so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy this video right here. This video was very, very fun to make, and I highly recommend you check it out. You will find it. You might find it helpful. You might find it very intriguing, or maybe all the above. I don't know. But if you enjoyed this video, please click on that video and check it out. And guys, I'm going to say this one more time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.